Maybe the universe amazes them, and that is why they keep tearing things apart to discover their use. And perhaps what you hate about them the most is that they are not precisely the best cheerleaders. However, certain traits critically distinguish an INTP entrepreneur. And in our video today, we will be exploring just that. Also called logicians, INTPs are analytical, love to spend time by themselves, are introverted, and like to think outside the box. That is why you find so many inventors falling under the INTP personality type. With their very detailed nature and their high emphasis on logic, as well as their intellect, the following are some of the most powerful traits of an INTP entrepreneur. The first powerful trait we will discuss is their dynamic thinking. A gift that comes naturally to INTPs is their ability to think outside the box. INTPs are not your regular guys with regular ideas, and because they base most of their decisions on intellect rather than emotions. One other reason why INTPs have a dynamic way of thinking is their attention to detail. Besides, who pays critical attention to even the most minuscule details and fails to think their way around it? Detailing is very important in that INTPs are able to pay critical attention to what informs their knowledge, which will subsequently influence how they think of the bigger picture. INTP entrepreneurs are good at observing, absorbing, and thinking about the most unique ideas. Obviously, thinking uniquely only results in one thing: creating uniquely, and we'll talk about that as well soon enough. The second powerful trait of an INTP is their independence. The introverted quality makes them want to spend time alone by themselves, absorbing as much information as they can. Already, INTPs don't form large social circles and tend to be close to only a selected few. This trait makes them good entrepreneurs because it is during their secluded periods that they organize information that they gather to come up with the best ideas. This trait also makes it quite difficult for INTPs to work with others because they prefer to spend time alone recharging, rather than engage in sometimes what they deem to be unproductive gatherings. And that is why an INTP might consider entrepreneurship, because it gives them the chance to explore their independence and use it to their full advantage without having to answer to anyone. What is an INTP without creativity? Nothing. Coming up with the best ideas due to their dynamic thinking and giving some of the most unique deliberations are the hallmarks of a typical logician. In any business, company, or setting, the brightest and most imaginative ideas come from INTPs. Take classic INTP Bill Gates, for example, whose foundation against all naysayers developed a clean plumbing system that could operate without electricity, or a sewer system. His move has contributed to the development of waterless toilets and the reduction of waterborne diseases across the globe. Prior to this, an invention such as this did not exist. A creative entrepreneur is certainly a good one. Creativity is responsible for solving some of the most precarious of the world's problems. And that is what we will be looking at coming up, but don't forget to subscribe to this channel. Even as we move on. Then again, INTPs have less concern about the opinions of others and value their beliefs above other things. Statistics indicate that assertive logicians are less likely to hold a grudge against others because their opinions do not drive them, and 73% also indicate that they are quite comfortable with their lives. An INTP is not likely to be motivated to compete in business because they respect their values and stick to their way of doing things rather than being driven by others to take up tasks that they do not wish to do. You can barely make them feel bad about themselves or their job because your opinion doesn't count when determining whether or not something is of value. Bill Gates indicated once in an interview that his goal is not to be inspirational but to optimize. Emotions hold very little for a personality trait that values logic and details, and therefore, as entrepreneurs, they are more likely to go with their passions than to follow a trend or a laid-out path. At this point, looking at the above traits, it is quite obvious that INTPs will be good problem solvers, a requisite and high-value trait of every good entrepreneur. Attention to detail, a strong belief system, creativity, and high intelligence are all important factors responsible for the problem-solving skills of INTPs. Taking our classic INTP example, Bill Gates again. He said, if you show people the problems and you show them the solutions, they will be moved to act. An INTP entrepreneur will most likely be the pioneering force driving most solutions in a company. This is indeed one of the most powerful traits of an INTP entrepreneur. INTPs are interesting, to say the least. More on this personality trait can be found in our video, How INTPs Can Overcome Their Quietness by Becoming Entrepreneurs. Till we come your way again, enjoy the rest of your time.